move on to the sitting, the sitting session. So you'll find a comfortable posture. So hopefully we can have enough time, hopefully. And I hope most of the participants have gone through the first segment, the homework, which is to ask you to maintain, right, loving kindness. So I think by the lecture, maybe most of you lost the loving kindness already. Right, is to uplift the mind. So it's easier to enter concentration. Right? One of the benefits of loving kindness. So even before the Buddha uh, discovered the four levels of concentration, he was also examining wholesome states of mind, unwholesome states of mind. So you need a wholesome state of mind as a groundwork, a framework, before they can enter concentration. All right, so hopefully after the talk and the Q&A, and your mind is more positive and sort of more uplifted, then we can start with the meditation. Okay, so we're going to close our eyes, find a comfortable posture and sit down. There's a few more people coming in, right? So we welcome them. Now we started the sitting session. Okay, so once you find a good posture, relax your whole body. Okay, so this time we are going to wish our entire body, right, well and happy from head to toe. So we start to feel, right? Don't need to visualize it, only feel. Using the sense of touch, we feel our head all the way down to our feet slowly. So starting from the head, our skull, right? Any sensation you feel, whatever sensation it is, we classify in the four elements: earth, fire, wind, and water. Earth being hard and soft sensations, fire being warm and cold, wind, fast and slow movements, water being moisture, right? So when you start to feel from head to toe, any sensation that's obvious to you, you just wish that sensation well and happy. The whole idea is not to fight the sensation, right, which is aversion, and not to cling onto the sensation, which is to have greed, right? Oh, this sensation so nice, I want it more. So you try to pursue it. So this is greed. So you're trying to practice the middle path, right? So you're watching the sensations from head to toe, then down to your eyes. Any sensation that come and go, you wish it well and happy. Just like a guest, bypasser. And then to your cheeks. And to your jaw. And down to your neck. And then to your shoulders. And your left arm. Wish every sensation well and happy as they come and go. And your right arm. And then your chest. And then to your abdomen. And the rest of your back. So the entire torso, the chest and the back, right? And your hip region. Wishing your hips well and happy. Every sensation that come and go. And then your left leg, your thighs, down to your calves, then to your toes. Wish them well and happy for every sensation that come and go. And then your right leg and the thighs, down to the calves, and to the feet, and to the toes. Right? Every sensation come and goes. Wish them well and happy. Okay, once you're attuned to the body, that means your entire body from head to toe, right? There's no sort of pushing or pulling of the mind. That means you're at peace, right? With the whole body in general. And then we go back to the breath, which is feeling, right? We feel below the nostril, above the upper lip. So we're trying to develop this single pointedness of the mind. Yeah. So when you breathe in and out, no need to control your breathing. Let it be your natural reflex action when you breathe in and out. Whenever there's inhalation, wish the breath well. Exhalation, wish the breath happy. Thoughts of non-hatred, right? Loving kindness, thoughts of non-greed, and detachment would be observing, right, the impermanence of the elements of the breath. Every in and out breath, there's very micro cycles of birth and death taking place. So every change of the sensation of the breath, there's birth and death going on. So when you breathe in and out, and any changes in the density of the air, and a change in hardness and softness, that's the birth and death of the earth element. Fire being the warm and cold. So you breathe in and out, any hot and cold changes in temperature, birth and death of the fire element. Wind element being the fast and slow, long and short movements. Change in the breathing rate. And the water being the moisture, moist or dry. So whichever sensation you feel at that point, below the nostril, above the upper lip, no need to purposely generate or create any kind of sensation. Whichever sensation is very obvious, just let it come and go and wish it well and happy. So this is the most important step in the entire breath meditation, because this will last throughout the entire concentration practice. So I'll give an example. Let's say the whole idea of concentration or single pointedness is to not get distracted, right? It's to unify the mind. The mind is always scattered. So I give an example. Let's say if a person goes to take a public transportation, say a bus or a train, and let's say it's crowded with people, right? So that's before the MCO and the lockdown, whatever it is. So if there's so many people, everyone is doing their own activity, right? They can be talking on the phone, talking to each other, and whatever not. So if you are traveling alone, right, the thing that wastes all your energy would be to react to every conversation that every passenger is taking part in. If you were to start talking and replying to everyone's conversation, then you're basically, wasting your energy, right? So in concentration meditation is the same thing. When we are sort of feeling the breath and the impermanence of the breath, there are thousands and thousands of stimuli going on. Right? Your heart is beating, and maybe your saliva is swallowing, whatever it is, right? So there are many, many things going on, your nervous system everywhere. You don't have to react or care any of them. Okay, so if let's say your attention happens to run to another place, just come back to that point, right? Below the nostril, above the upper lip, and observe impermanence, right? That means the rising and falling or the birth and death of the breath. First, this being a right thought, engaging in right thought. Second, helps to keep the mind awake, right? If the mind nothing to do, most probably end up in la la land and fall asleep. By observing impermanence of the breath, is a kind of a natural kind of Teflon, and it's non-stick. So the mind will produce this detachment, and the mind will continue to settle down. So the whole idea is to observe impermanence until the mind settles to what I call this thing called stability point. Stability point, which means the mind settles until it cannot settle anymore. Or the rate of settling is so negligible, right? Okay, once the mind has reached a stability point, okay, for those who have reached stability point, then you familiarize yourself with this emotion. Familiarize yourself with this base point. At ground level, what is this emotion like? So basically remember or rather enjoy also this emotion when the mind is calm. Yeah, not forgetting the impermanence of the breath. Okay, once you have a feel or have a taste of this, the base point, right? And ground zero, right? Supposed to be, most probably it's a very bland kind of feeling, but still peaceful, right? So you just take note of this. Then we can proceed to the next step. So how we are going to do is, we are going to make a wish in our mind, right? We can just make a wish by saying, may I let go of this state of mind. Just like a child letting go of a balloon. So basically you release this mind. So when you release the mind will evolve naturally by itself to another level. So you just be a passive observer, yeah, don't have to push anything, yeah. The mind will transit naturally by itself. You just need to observe the change of emotion. So if your mind have reached the first level of this concentration, a pleasant emotion will manifest. Right? A pleasant emotion will manifest. So what you need to do is be mindful of this emotion and simultaneously be mindful of the impermanence of the breath. So two things, yeah? Mindful of the emotion, which are the jhana factors in theory, and the impermanence of the breath, which is the one-pointedness. Continue to do this until the mind reach stability point. Okay, once your mind is rather calm or reach stability point, that means the rate of settling is like so negligible until you cannot settle any further. Then you familiarize yourself with the first level of concentration. And basically is to remember this emotion of the first level when the mind is calm. Once you have tasted the first level of concentration, right? Of course, in your own free time, you can do as long as you want. In this routine, I will sort of proceed, right, for the sake of group timing. Then it's a bit like changing gear when driving a car. So when the condition is right, when the mind is calm, then you can change gear, right? So you can make another wish in your mind. May I let go of the first level of concentration, just like a child letting go of a balloon. So once you release the mind will evolve naturally by itself to another level. So your job is just to be a passive observer and don't have to push anything, but just to observe the transition and the change of emotion. Okay, once a person has sort of reached the second level of concentration, a slightly a different grade of pleasant emotion will manifest, right? So you just be mindful of this emotion while simultaneously be mindful of the impermanence of the breath. Right? So two things, mindful of the emotion, which is the jhana factors or the second level, and mindful of this one-pointedness, the impermanence of the breath, until the mind settles to this stability point. Okay, once the mind has settled to this stability point, right? That means the mind settle or the rate of settling is so negligible and it cannot settle anymore. Then you familiarize yourself with the second level of concentration. So basically, that is to remember this emotion Okay, once you have tasted, right, the second level of concentration, or roughly know how it feels like, right, the second level of concentration, remember the emotion, and when the mind is calm, then we can proceed to the next level. What we can do is make another wish in your mind. May I let go of the second level of concentration, just like a child letting go of a balloon. So the mind will evolve naturally by itself to the third level of concentration. And what we need to do is just be a passive observer, just observe the transition of the mind and how the emotion change without exerting or doing anything. Once the mind has reached the third level, right, then a new pleasant kind of emotion will manifest. Right, so be mindful of this emotion and simultaneously be mindful of the impermanence of the breath. Continue this process until the mind settles to stability point. Okay, once the mind has calmed down to this stability point, and that means the mind, the rate of settling is so negligible that it cannot settle further, then you familiarize yourself with the third level of concentration. And that is to say, to remember this emotion of the third level when the mind is calm. And once you have tasted the third level of concentration, you have remembered this emotion, and when the mind is calm, and then we can proceed to the next step. So we can again make a wish. May I let go of the third level of concentration, just like a child letting go of a balloon. So that once you release the mind, it will evolve naturally by itself to the fourth level of concentration. So we just need to sit back and observe the transition, the change of emotion. So once the mind has reached the fourth level of concentration, right, a new kind of emotion will manifest. Most probably, you might not have experienced it before for first timers. That will be the emotion of equanimity. So the equanimity has neither pleasure nor pain, neither pleasure nor joy, right? So the pleasant kind of emotions earlier is gone. So this equanimity probably can be described as a kind of refreshing kind of emotion. So you just be mindful of this equanimity, this emotion, and be mindful of the impermanence of the breath. Two things. And continue this process until the mind settles down to this stability point. So once the mind has reached stability point, that is to say the rate of settling is so negligible that the mind cannot settle any further, then you just familiarize yourself with the fourth level of concentration. And basically it's to remember this emotion So basically, this is just a temporary recharge of the battery, right? So what we can do next is once you know remember this emotion, we are going to go in the reverse direction, right? So instead of going up, we go down. So you make a wish. May I go back down to the third level of concentration. Just observe the transition, the change of emotion at the third level, and be mindful of impermanence of the breath. And once you think the mind is calm enough, right, they observe the transition already, then we can go down further, right? So from 3, then we go down to 2. I make a wish, may I go down to the second level. So observe the transition, the change of emotion, and be mindful of the impermanence of the breath. And if you want to know what is the what is this vitaka vichara about, yeah, the sustained and applied thoughts. Then when your mind is calm at the second level, then you can go down, right? Make a wish, go down to the first level of concentration. So you just observe this transition, change of emotion, and mindful of impermanence of the breath. Okay, and then when your mind is calm, right, then you can go down to this ground zero, make a wish, yeah, may my mind come back down to a base level. And just observe the transition, Observe the change of emotion and be mindful of the impermanence of the breath. Okay, once you are at base level, ground level, right, should be no more pleasant emotion. That means bland emotion, and yeah, that means you're back to the sense sphere, and we are going to now feel your entire body, right? Just start to feel your rest of your hands, your feet. So I have like 1 more minute. So we are going to, before we end the session, another round of homework, which is to radiate the loving kindness in all directions. We are going to wish all beings in all directions well and happy. I just make a general wish. I wish all beings well and happy. And all beings in the entire world, in the entire universe. May all beings be well and happy. And then you try to maintain, right? Maintain this loving kindness, yeah, throughout your self uh, practice, or even if you're self practice, you want to go up and down the different levels of concentration also can.